Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all having a great conference. So I'm Kelly Barton. I'm Vice President of Operations for Riskonnect, and this is Roger Duncan, who's Vice President of our Applications and Platform at Riskonnect, and he's also one of our co-founders, and sitting down here is another co-founder, Antonio DeBreo. So what we want to cover with you this morning is a little bit about how Riskonnect serves Fortune 500 companies and Fortune 1000 companies, and to automate a lot of their processes. So we're going to walk through a couple of stories around that. But first, the safe harbor. How many of these have you seen throughout the conference? So, yeah, too many.
Can I read that for you?
Sure, go ahead, Roger.
So, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say may be held against you in a court of law.
All right, that's enough.
Okay. In addition, one more thing. So there are, contrary to popular belief, there are stupid questions. And if you ask one, your audience members will call you out on it. So that should keep the Q&A down to a
I don't know that we needed that, but
no, we really won't.
We do welcome questions. Let us first just give you a little bit of understanding of what Riskonnect does. We won't go much into the company, but do want to just put things in context for you. So really, no matter what industry you're in, if there are a lot of moving parts, so a lot of vehicles moving around, a lot of airplanes moving around, if you're Southwest Airlines, if you are a retailer like Dick's Sporting Goods or Sears, you have people coming in and out of your properties. You have goods being transported, whether by plane, bus, cargo ship, and so on. So when you have all these moving parts, a lot of bad things can happen. It can cost the company a lot of money. You can injure workers. You can injure employees. Bad things can happen. And that's the world that we live in every day, is helping companies manage that risk and hopefully prevent and mitigate a lot of that risk. So think about if you are Maersk, which all these that I'm naming, these are some of our clients. If you are Maersk, you are you have a huge fleet of ships. You have ginormous cargo containers stacked up. When those cargo containers fall over, which happens, all those goods are damaged. Someone has to track all that. Someone has to pay for all that. Hopefully no one gets injured, but many times people do. All that I'm talking about is managed through Riskonnect technology. So
on the platform natively.
Built natively on the Force.com platform. So these are our products: Riskonnect REMIS, Riskonnect EHS, Riskonnect GRC, and Riskonnect Healthcare. So these cover a variety of different types of risk: insurable risks, strategic risks, healthcare risks.
And let me give you an example, and we didn't plan on this happening today, but Riskonnect GRC, that stands for Governance, Risk, and Compliance, and it really covers all strategic risk. Any risk that a company might face, we manage. Unfortunately, we have this issue going around the world right now with Ebola, and we've all heard the scenario. Well, this morning, I don't know if you've heard, if you've checked your stock portfolio, if you have any airline stocks, but the airline stocks at this moment are tanking. Why? Well, because there's been a second worker, healthcare worker in Texas that treated the first gentleman, and that worker is now being treated, but she flew Frontier Airlines yesterday. And now they're trying to connect all this. Well, what did all the airlines? Well, Frontier Airlines was the only airlines that flew this patient, but all the airline stocks. So we have a reputational risk event. And then in addition, you have the reputation of the Dallas hospital now that is starting to take a hit, because as I was about to stand up here to start the presentation, we have a product called Riskonnect Alerts. I received an alert on my phone that said that patient, that second nurse, that medical worker in Dallas, is now being life-flighted from that Texas hospital to the CDC preferred hospital in Atlanta. So now you've got a situation where airline stocks are dropping. You've got the reputation of this hospital in Dallas that's being affected. And all of those kinds of strategic risk events we capture in the governance, risk, and compliance application. We put plans, crisis plans around how to deal with that. So we actually have 2 large customers, airline customers, United Airlines and Southwest, and I would imagine they're probably utilizing our system quite a bit right now. So, but just to give you a little bit of idea what GRC is and relate that to real world happenings at the moment.
So Roger, what does all this have to do with Salesforce CRM?
It's a great platform as a service.
So we were founded in 2007. We were arguably one of the very first ISV partners of Salesforce.
Outside of CRM.
Outside of CRM. And we built on the Force.com platform back in 2007. That's before it was named the Force.com platform. That's before iPhones came out. That's before the term cloud was heard every moment of every day. So just to give you a little sense of who we are and the types of things that we do. So this is a little bit about, a little more about who we are, a little sampling of a few of our clients that use the system. And, you know, as I said, we specialize in selling to the Fortune 1000, and we try to help them manage their risk. Do you want to bring that home with a few examples?
Yeah, let me talk about 2 specific examples. And first, let's talk about Avery Dennison, who is one of our clients. And so they came to us with a challenge around inefficiencies in their organization. I'm going to talk a little bit about corporate insurance-related topics. And one of those topics is what we call values collection. But we really should clarify that and call it property renewal values collection. What happens in these large organizations is they have to survey all of their properties. They have to survey all of their locations worldwide. That data needs to be gathered, brought into a single source system like the Riskonnect built on the Force.com platform. Once that data gets into the system, then analysis can begin. We're excited about the wave, and we are going to integrate that as quickly as possible. It'll provide even more value to the analytics that we have today. So one of the things the values collection module does is it allows us to save time. It allows us to actually capture this data. What you'll find is that many Fortune 1000 companies still use spreadsheets to go out and try to reach out to their employees, their operations, to gather data and bring it back. And so the Force.com platform allows us to do that. And the way we do that is through a combination of workflows, email services, and custom visual force and sites. So what we do is we have, Avery Dennison may have 2,000 or 3,000 properties. We run a process on the platform that allows emails to be distributed. Those emails have links, secure links, where the recipient of those emails can click that link. It opens up a custom visual force page for them, and they can start answering questions about their property. It shows them the prior year's values, gives them a sense of what they submitted last year, and then what they're going to be able to submit this year with some validation rules, such that if they maybe increase the value of their property or they increase the value of the inventory at that property, we can fire validation rules and say, hey, wait a minute, you've increased this value over 10%. Now let's describe why your property now has an increase in value. So we can begin to properly provide insurance coverage for that. I should also mention that we manage this in global currencies all around the world. It's multilingual as well. We take advantage of all those capabilities in the platform.
So basically, our app is built on the Force.com platform, all of our apps. And if you are using the Salesforce CRM to run your business, to run your sales, that's great. But this is separate, and what this does is help you use the same platform, the same techniques that you're used to, whether it's email services, any type of business automation, in your risk management department, in your customer complaint department, in your guest services department, in your HR department. The tentacles of risk management spread really across the entire organization, and that's what we help do.
One of the important points too, and you've been to the different venues where you see all the partners, and one of the things we do is we leverage those partners, and we've leveraged Adobe EchoSign, and you've heard that there's electronic signature capability. We have a little different use case. What we do oftentimes is not only use it for electronic signature, but that product allows us to bring data back in as well. We can reach out to a non-named user and gather information. So it's a different use case on the electronic signature products, but the Adobe EchoSign products is another way for our customers to reach out and secure data. The process is very easy. That's one of the things it's required by our customers. Very easy, fast. Some of the metrics on the ROI, they've increased credibility. One of the issues is that if you ever produce a report that has bad data, it is so difficult to regain your credibility. There's always that question. We reduced the time necessary to gather all this data to 67% reduction. The last statistic on the slide I will show you is a $200 million enhanced coverage. So they were able to, as a result of data quality, reaching out to the properties, gathering this information, they were able to take to the market and gather or secure an insurance policy that gave them much more coverage for less premium. So we're talking real dollars here. And before I go into the next use case here with Ruby Tuesday, Dreamforce wouldn't be appropriate without a live demo. So I'm going to give you just a little flavor of what I mentioned earlier in the opening around Riskonnect alerts. And so Riskonnect alerts is a tool that allows us to gather events that are going over all over all the world right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to take those events, we're going to geocode them, we're going to place them on a map, we're going to geocode our properties for Avery Dennison or any one of our clients, we're going to place those on a map, we're going to tie those events, we're going to geocode them adjacent to an event. We provide statistics around each type of category or event that's happening. We provide a radius and data around, do we want to send them a chatter? Do we want to send them an email? Do we want to send them an SMS? And that can allow for those properties, those locations of a Ruby Tuesday to take action immediately on any kind of crisis that's going on around the world. Okay? So I will show you that.
So while he's pulling that up, if you think about any type of risk event, think about the towers going down in 9/11. What did Rudy Giuliani do? The main thing that he did was communicate well. He communicated with everybody. He was the key spokesperson. And so as Roger shows you these events and how we help deal with them, think about how you use the Salesforce platform for communication. You're able to use chatter. There's all kinds of built-in functionality to help with communication. We use that same functionality to help these Fortune 1000s deal with their risk event, whatever it may be.
So you'll see on the screen we have the Riskonnect application pulled up, and you recognize the application as the Salesforce UI, but instead of forecasts and opportunities, you see things like claims and litigation and properties and alerts. And so on our alerts tab, what we have is a map of the United States, and just to zoom out to show you that this is actually global. This is a bit scary. When people see this and they realize all these events are going on around the world, that's a little bit unnerving. But there's a lot of things that are going on every minute, every day. And so we track all of that and provide this as information to our customers. So this is kind of exciting. You can see all the events that are going on in the United States at this very moment. But more importantly, we take this information and then we apply it to our properties. So I can show properties and it will display all of our properties on the map, and you can see how close they are to these certain events. In addition, I can get really focused with my properties and look at maybe properties that are over $10 million, because anything under that I may not be concerned with or whatever. So all of these filters are dynamically configurable. Everything we do is kind of using the same philosophy as Salesforce, is it's highly configurable. Okay? Now let's take a deeper look at one of these particular risks. And you can see all of these types of risks that are being tracked, or events rather, that are being tracked: avalanches, complex emergencies, earthquakes, epidemics, events into space. We track space junk. You name it, it's out there. So let's, probably the most common is an earthquake. And we just scroll down and we can see that Signal Hill, California, the Long Beach plant was affected by a 2.6. This is real data. It looks like it's on 10/15, and if someone can do the GMT math real quick, you can find out exactly when that happened. In addition, we have the ability to take this and display that event and also the property as well, and drill right into that property. And if the property manager was set to be notified of an earthquake of that low of a magnitude, which they're probably not, they're probably concerned of maybe a 4.0 and above, then they would have been alerted via the Salesforce One mobile app in their chatter feed. It would have sent them an immediate alert. Even more scary is a real-time map showing what's happening up to the minute. Anything that's blinking is in the last 24 hours. A red circle means that we have a situation where it's happened, an event has happened within the hour. And I won't go into all these, but just to give you a sense of what this platform can do, and the interconnectivity with other systems is quite amazing. Let's jump back and talk about Ruby Tuesdays for a moment. So the concept around Ruby Tuesday was to reduce fraudulent claims and improve the customer experience. And that's more CRM-ish than probably anything we do. Ruby Tuesdays needed to gain control of their workload. They had a customer care group that had a web page where if an employee was injured, if a customer had a bad meal, they were dissatisfied, or they were super happy, then they could go to this website and they could complete a form, and that data would come into Ruby Tuesday via email. Someone would take that email, rekey it into another system, and you can imagine the additional workflow that had to go on to try to manage all that. It was quite chaotic. So what we did is we have an application. Our customer care application is built into the platform that allows us to gather that information, fire workflow, email services, communicate back to the customer. Ultimately, the store manager can take their Salesforce One. We actually rebrand it, and we call it Riskonnect One. But we take that, and a store manager can walk up to you and apologize for the meal and issue you a coupon right there in front of you, and you can take advantage of it. So that's kind of the power that we bring. So some of the stats around Ruby Tuesdays is that they were able to reduce their fraudulent claims by 76%. It's a big deal. They will reduce their time to for the workflow of this whole process from start to finish from 8 down to 2 minutes. They reduced their hours, their work week. We had people that were working 90 hours a week trying to manage these customer care incidents. And I'm not sure how we came up with 75% work-related stress reduction, but it's awesome. They explain that they could actually go to their sons and daughters' events on the weekends and not have to work. So I guess that's the stress relief there. And let me just show you briefly I'm going to go to the live rubytuesday.com website. And so what's so special about the website? Well, it's a great looking website, but there's something at the very bottom called Let's Chat. We'd love to hear from you. Whoa, that's force.com right there, right embedded into rubytuesday.com. So that's the Riskonnect application, sort of a page that we're going to ingest that data, and we're going to move that into our customer care objects and then begin the process of handling those complaints or those compliments.
So, Roger, what if I am a customer and I type, whatever my description of whatever I'm complaining about involves the word hospital or allergic reaction? What if I put in those keywords?
So we have keyword global search capability where workflow is looking for certain phrases, words, and we'll take special workflow action and notify people via email, SMS, so that they can get on top of these claims or incidents quickly. So that's a very unique capability of how we're integrating with a standard web page, using the Force.com platform to gather that and drive workflow around it. So with that, we're running just about out of time. Kelly, any final words before we ask a couple questions?
Are there any questions?
Any thoughts or questions on some of the topics we talked about? I have a question in the back. That is a Salesforce standard process that I can't answer. I know the session was streamed live, so I would imagine that we're in a recorded mode here. So we'll find out. Yes, in the back.
Do you have any transportation businesses that are using this? You know, like maybe fuel companies or distribution companies, utilizing that for a process on safety management?
We do indeed. So our EHS product, Environmental Health and Safety, so what you're referring to is exactly. A lot of our large Fortune 500, even though you talk about a Best Buy or a Dick's Sporting Goods, you don't think of them as logistics, but they have huge distribution centers that they have to manage. So customers like Maersk, that's a global logistics company, DHL, they use this system for a variety of things, safety, supply chain management. What happens when a hurricane is moving through a part of the world that has two of their key suppliers? How do they manage around that? Also, we have a cargo claims management system built into the application as well that addresses all the international law, and the intellectual property around that is included in the system as well. Yes?
How long did it take for you to build out the process for the Tuesday workflow?
Start to finish on the customer care, I think we were about 60 days. And most of that is driving out requirements from the customer. One of the challenges is that when you move to a new technology, you have to think a little bit differently. There's a paradigm shift. You can't just take an old process and just speed it up with technology, because oftentimes you'll just speed up the errors. You actually want to reinvent the process. Great.
Is it a user-based or is it how's that work?
This is all subscription-based, just like all of the platform services. Great. Well, listen, thank you. We appreciate you attending, and have a good conference.